Why I Left the UK for Jamaica. A Journey of Heart, History, and Hope. By Dean Jones. Published on March 27, 2025. By a humble realtor associate ready to help you find home wherever that may be. I never imagined I would leave the UK. I was born there, raised among its red postboxes and brick buildings and green fields, with its blend of cultures and a passport that allowed access to nearly the whole world. But I did leave, and not in haste or bitterness, but in clarity and conviction. This post isn't a takedown of the UK, far from it. There are many things I love and miss. The NHS, which is currently under stress, the vibrant art scene, even the quirky humor. But sometimes, love also requires honesty. And the truth is, I left because something had shifted in me and in the UK. So let me share 5 reasons I left, but more than that, let's explore the history of both the UK and Jamaica, the issues that shaped my decision, and where I believe the future may lie, for me, and perhaps for others too. 1. The weather, but it's deeper than that. People often roll their eyes when I start with the weather. Really? That's your number one reason? But hear me out. Waking up in darkness, scraping ice from the windshield with frozen fingers, going to work under gray skies, returning home in the dark, again and again, for months on end. It wasn't just about the sun or lack thereof. It was about what that gray meant. It meant monotony, fatigue, a sense of being stuck in an endless cycle. In contrast, Jamaica offered me mornings filled with birdsong, with golden light streaming through the windows, and an invitation to live outside. It might seem trivial, but weather shapes mood, energy, even relationships. And as a parent, I began to ask, what kind of environment do I want my children to grow up in? 2. Raising children in a hypersexualized, disrespectful society. This is where it gets personal. I didn't want my daughter growing up thinking that beauty meant Botox, miniskirts the size of a belt, or living life through the lens of Instagram filters. The UK has increasingly normalized a culture where girls grow up too fast, and the messages about self-worth are warped and commercialized. But this isn't just about women. It's about the erosion of respect for elders, for values, for community. Young people, left without strong guidance, seem increasingly adrift. And the schools? Overwhelmed, teachers demoralized, parents exhausted. In Jamaica, things aren't perfect either. But there's still an emphasis on discipline, manners, respect. There's still the phrase, "Yes, miss," and "Good afternoon, sir." Cultural norms haven't completely buckled under the weight of Western hyper-individualism. And while I know no place is immune to influence, I wanted a better starting point for my kids. 3. Where did the community go? The Windrush generation came to the UK to rebuild it, to drive the buses, nurse the sick, clean the streets. My parents, or grandparents, depending on your age, were part of that proud wave. They brought not just labor, but culture. Sound systems, Sunday stews, sewing clubs, church hats, and most importantly, the sense of togetherness. Where is that now? Black Afro-Caribbean community centers? Closed down. Grants cut. Cultural events reduced to footnotes. Today there's fragmentation, isolation, everyone fighting battles in silos. We used to have a voice. Now it's often drowned out. I felt like a nomad in the very land of my birth. And I know I'm not alone. The sense of belonging is frayed, and with it, our protection, our power, and our peace. Perhaps this is one reason why we're so often targeted, racially, economically, politically. If we don't stand together, how can we expect respect? 4. Food, health in a system designed for convenience over care. Processed, overpriced, unrecognizable. That's how I describe the average food experience in the UK now. A family meal out costs close to £100, and what do you get? something likely microwaved in the back. Even grocery shopping feels like a rigged game. £150 plus per week for a small family just to eat. And that's if you're careful. Where's the fresh food? The markets? The real flavor? In Jamaica, I can go to the local stall, pick up ackee fresh from the tree, yams still with dirt on it, and fish that was caught this morning. That's not just a luxury. That's nourishment. That's health. That's life. It makes you question, what's the long-term cost of the UK's food culture? Diabetes, heart disease, anxiety, depression, cancer? We pay with our health, our wallets, and our future. 5. Race and respect, rewinding rights. The final straw for me, watching the UK walk back so many hard-won rights. My foreparents fought to get the Race Relations Act passed, and now it's been dissolved into a diluted Equality Act, where race is just one of many categories, often overlooked. Discrimination in the workplace? Commonplace. Accountability? Rare. The Windrush scandal only highlighted what any of us already knew. We are only welcome in the UK as long as we remain silent, compliant, and invisible. People were deported to Jamaica, their so-called homeland, after living 50-plus years in Britain. Having worked, paid taxes, raised families, the Home Office claimed it was a mistake. But how do you accidentally deport citizens? This isn't just policy. This is pain. And now, with hate crimes rising and Brexit seemingly turning back the clock, I had to ask, what am I fighting to hold on to? Understanding the Roots, a brief history of the UK and Jamaica. This isn't just my story. It's a long, tangled tale between two islands. The UK colonized Jamaica in 1655, following Spanish rule. For over 300 years, Jamaica's resources, human and natural, were exploited for the wealth of the British Empire. Sugar, slavery, iron, plantations, blood soaked into soil. Independence came in 1962, but the ties, economic, social, secular, and other parts of the islands intermingled and abandoned families. Cultural, psychological, remained. Many Jamaicans moved to Britain in the post-war years under the belief that they were citizens of the Commonwealth. They helped rebuild the UK, yet were never fully welcomed. The racism was overt and systemic. Jamaica, in turn, struggled with development, dependency, and diaspora loss. Yet through it all, it maintained a fierce cultural identity, one that now pulses through reggae, resistance, and resilience. The Windrush scandal was not an anomaly. It was a painful reminder that colonial hangovers still linger in the halls of Whitehall. Where do we go from here? Recommendations for a better tomorrow. Leaving the UK wasn't easy. I gave up the familiar, the reliable income, and the predictable seasons of life. But I gained something deeper: purpose, peace, and possibility. Here's what I believe needs to happen. Whether you stay in the UK, move to Jamaica, or build bridges between both. 1. Rebuild community infrastructure. Support for Black cultural centers, youth programs, intergenerational events, and mentorship schemes must be prioritized. These aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. We need hubs where people feel seen, valued, and connected again. 2. Reform food systems and health education. A national focus on fresh, local, and healthy food, particularly in urban, working class, and ethnic minority areas, is essential. Introduce subsidies for fresh markets, local farms, and community gardens. Partner with Caribbean farmers and promote cultural nutrition education. 3. Strengthen anti-racism legislation. The Race Relations Act should be reinstated or rebuilt as a standalone, enforceable pillar, not an afterthought in a crowded Equality Act. Real change needs real teeth. Employers, landlords, and institutions must face accountability. 4. Encourage reconnection with roots. More opportunities should be created for UK-born Caribbean descendants to reconnect with their ancestral lands through cultural exchanges, short-term working visas, digital remittances, and dual citizenship incentives. This isn't just nostalgia, it's empowerment. 5. Promote work-life balance and alternative career paths. Remote work, entrepreneurship, real estate, and freelancing can create space for people to live more fulfilling lives, especially those of us with ties to Jamaica. The idea that success must come with burnout must be challenged. A final word from one realtor to another. Soul in transition. I now work as a realtor in Jamaica, helping people find homes, whether they're returning to the island, relocating from abroad, or starting fresh. It's risky. It's not always stable, but it's meaningful. I don't just sell properties. I help people rediscover belonging. To those thinking of leaving the UK, know that you're not running away. You're choosing a different rhythm. And to those staying to fight for change, thank you. We need you too. The UK is like a wound, patched over and over again with new bandages. Peeling off the layers will be painful, but healing always is. As for Jamaica, it's not perfect, but its sun, soil, and spirit offer something the UK sometimes forgets to: hope. So wherever you go, may you find warmth in the climate, the culture, or the community. And if you need help making the move, I'm just a humble realtor associate, but I'd be honored to help you find your way home. Contact me for relocation assistance to or from Jamaica. Ready to make the move? Have questions about life in Jamaica? Let's talk. 1-876-418-2524. Because home isn't always where you're born. Sometimes it's where you begin again.